So as the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat clash once again in the Eastern Conference Final, what are the secrets that are most likely to decide the series? Let's go through the three of them. The first one is, will Miami and the best coach in the National Basketball Association, the best tactician, Erik Spoelstra, will he outcoach Boston coach Joe Mazzulla? And if so, by how much? Now, the answer is almost 100% yes. Spoelstra is just such a good game planner and in-game adjuster that it's almost impossible to outcoach him over the course of a playoff series. The thing that would worry or should worry Celtics fans a little bit more than anything else is the reality that it took their coach, Joe Mazzulla, until Game 6 of last series against the 76ers to finally make the adjustment to go back to the defensive lineup that didn't play a lot during the regular season because Robert Williams III was injured a lot. But that defensive lineup with two bigs, Robert Williams III and Al Horford, was the foundation of Boston's brilliant defense that carried them to within 2 wins of the championship trophy last year. It allowed Robert Williams, if there's a non-shooter on the floor, to guard him and basically roam the paint, helping off that non-shooter and being able to contest everything at the rim to be an excellent help defender and deterrent. Now, Joe did finally make that adjustment, but it took him until Game 6 when his team was on the verge of elimination. And if Joe takes that long to make an adjustment against Erik Spoelstra and the Heat, it might be too late. That's worry number one. The second thing is Miami is going to focus on putting as much pressure on the ball and Boston's ball handlers, especially Jayson, Tatum, and Jaylen Brown, their main creators, to try to muck up Boston's offense, their offensive flow. If you recall, these two teams played each other last year at the same stage in the Eastern Conference Final. Jimmy Butler was injured during that series, and yet Miami somehow still managed to come within a Jimmy Butler three-pointer in transition of beating the Celtics in Game 7 and taking the series. That series should not have been that close, and the reason that it was, more than anything else, was the Celtics turned the ball over in inexplicable, inexcusable ways. Tatum and Brown especially were losing the ball in traffic, throwing the ball sometimes straight to the other team, and if they do that in this series, this Miami team, especially if they get Tyler Hero back late in the series, will be capable of beating them. And that's the final thing that's involved here. The three-point shooting on both sides could be a massive swing factor. Now, Miami struggled the entire season. Even though their shot creation was very good during the regular season, their three-point percentage as a team was one of the worst in the league, and they were able to finally reverse that just in time in the Milwaukee series in the first round, enough to allow them to beat the Bucks in 5. But Miami's going to have to shoot the hell out of the ball when they do create open three-point jump shots in this series, and they're going to have to do their best to run Boston in turn off of the three-point line. Joe Mazzulla's offensive focus is very analytics driven, trying to get as many baskets as his team can at the rim and as many baskets as they can from three. His offensive philosophy is that if you shoot a much higher volume of threes than your opponent, you're more than likely to win, and I'm sure that Erik Spoelstra, knowing that, is going to try to run them off the line and force Boston to beat his team from the mid-range, where they're less comfortable based on the reps they've had during the season to this point. So it's going to be a very interesting series. Boston certainly has a significant talent advantage, especially in the backcourt, despite Jimmy being perhaps the best player in the series. But if Miami can get Tyler Hero back in time, meaning in Game 5 or 6, if they can survive that long, it is very possible that this series can be super competitive. I do think the Celtics should win this in 6 or 7 games, but I would be surprised, given the Heat's culture and Erik Spoelstra's tenacity, if Miami doesn't stretch this series beyond 5 games. If, however, Jimmy Butler is in any way still hindered by his ankle injury from last series, balloon to massive size, that could be a devastating issue that crops up for Miami. Enjoy the series, everybody.